in celebration of the 50th anniversary of the Fair Housing. On behalf of myself, my board, and officers, we'd like to present this to you and say thank you, sir, for your service.
The national officer who is here, Mark Austin, who's here. It's good to have you here from LA to be here in the city of Houston. The president did come along with Courtney, and they came to the office and they pointed out the problems that exist. But I would say to you, they don't just exist in this city, they exist in cities across the country. When it comes to housing, there are many problems. Even when trying to get loans, there are problems. But you know, we don't have to go and research that. Many of us just know that from just day-to-day living. Yeah. And even though a lot of things have improved, there's still problems still exist. And of course, the Fair Housing Act was passed on April the 11th of 1968, about 7 days after the death of Martin Luther King. So it did pass, and even Lyndon Johnson back then said it's a step, but it's not the final step. And of course, we have been having to deal with it ever since then. And we've come a long way, still got a long way to go when you look at housing. And this is a great city. I will tell you, it's a great city. But when I came in office, I said I did not want to be a mayor of two cities, of have and have not. And still in our city, there are certain areas of town, pastors, you can go through, and the opportunities abound. You know, housing and job and business, retail, quality schools, and all of that. And then there are certain areas of town where you don't have those opportunities. And when I came into office, there was a housing project that was on my desk where they wanted, it was close to a $60 million development, and they wanted it built in the Galleria area. It was the Fountain View project. And I looked at that project. It's about $60 million. To build each one of those units was going to cost about $254,000 a unit. And 10% of those units was 221 units, I think, something like that. 10% would be for low-income individuals. The developer's fee was going to be about $6 million for it. And so when I looked at it, I just couldn't get past the numbers. It was on my desk when I got there, and I decided not to move forward on that project. And I got a lot of flack from it. You know, and specifically, I got a lot of flack from HUD, because HUD and the housing advocates, there's a guy, I can't think of his name right now. He and I just do not get along, okay? He's a housing advocate out of Austin, but he and I just don't get along. And they wanted me to build that project in the Galleria area. And basically they were saying, Mayor, you need to build this project in an opportunity district. In fact, they don't want any housing pretty much built in areas that are not described as opportunity areas. Because they say, well, you know, that you got all these multifamily units and everything else in these areas, like a Acres Home or Fifth Ward or Sunnyside, so they said no more. And what I said to them, I understand that there's a need for housing all throughout our city. We need housing all throughout our city. But what I was not going to do was take limited resources and just build them over in quote-unquote opportunity districts. That we need to create opportunity districts all over the city of Houston. All over the city of Houston. And I did not think the answer is in order for people to participate in the American dream, that they have to leave certain neighborhoods, like Acres Home, the Fofo, or Fifth Ward, the Nickel, or Third Ward, the Trey, or Sunnyside, and go someplace else. If that's the case, we may as well close down every neighborhood school in these areas, just close down all of these communities, and just go someplace else. So I said, you know, that didn't create the problem. The problem is that we have not invested in these communities. And if you don't invest in these communities, you can't get much out if you don't put much in. So yes, we need to build all over. And we need affordable housing. in this city. No question about that. We need it even more so after Hurricane Harvey, because 135,000 single-family homes were impacted by Hurricane Harvey. Another 200,000 apartment units were impacted by Hurricane Harvey. So in a city where we didn't have enough affordable housing, we have even less after Hurricane Harvey. And so now we have to engage in a very aggressive program to build housing all throughout the city of Houston. We have to build housing. And we still have about 2,000 people that are living in hotels. And we have thousands of people who are living in homes that need to be remediated, repaired, or rebuilt, even right now, okay? So the goal, what I said to people when I came in, we need to build housing and affordable housing. Quite frankly, it needs to be mixed income housing all over, because the percentage of people, especially African American, that are homeowners, that percentage continues to go down. It's not going up, it's going down. You know, most of our people are not homeowners. You know, they're living in an apartment. So we need to establish a new generation of homeowners. And we need to say to financial institutions, you need to help them get into homes, okay? You can't discriminate against them. And so that's been the goal. Over the next several years, you're going to see from the city of Houston an aggressive attempt to build housing in the city of Houston, and leveraging the dollars that we are getting from Hurricane Harvey, from HUD, leveraging those dollars with the dollars that we already had to build affordable housing, single-family homes, as well as multifamily, but single-family homes in many of these communities. That's going to be important. But I would tell you the added component, if you just build housing and don't do anything else, you still miss the point. Because it has to be a complete community. We have to take communities that have not been deemed as opportunity areas and turn them into opportunity neighborhoods. And so what do I mean by that? In every area, there are certain things that must exist. You have to have housing, okay? In many cases, it has to be mixed income housing. Affordable housing, but mixed. You got to provide people with a number of items, housing options, okay? Because even kids that have grown up in these neighborhoods, when they get educated, get good paying jobs, and they want to come back and live in Fifth Ward, or Acres Home, or Sunnyside, they're looking for a product that they want, okay? And if we don't provide them with a product that they are looking for and that they can afford, what do you think happens? They're going to the lands. And you know what I mean when I say the lands. They're going to Pearland. They're going to Woodlands. They're going to Sugarland, okay? If you don't provide them with a product that they can afford and what they are looking for, even though they may want to return to the communities in which they were born and reared, they will go and find it. And when they leave, then it impacts our schools, because they are not in the school system to advocate for better schools, because they're in someplace else, okay? So we've got to build mixed income housing in these communities. And if you don't have mixed income housing in these communities, you're not going to get the quality grocery stores, okay? They're not going to build in neighborhoods where they're not mixed income housing, because they're looking at the roofs. And so if they see only one social economic bracket, they're going to leave. They're going someplace else. So if you want the H-E-Bs and the Krogers and all these other stores in these neighborhoods, it has to be mixed income housing. Quality schools, neighborhood schools got to be important. And so we have to invest in our schools. We have to improve them. And closing and consolidating schools will hurt housing opportunities. If you don't have quality schools, neighborhood schools, they're going someplace else. They may love Acres Home, but they going someplace else. And then they need retail job business opportunities right in these communities, okay? So it has to be complete. Parks and green space. All of those amenities that people are looking for and maybe finding in the lands, we have to provide right here in the city. And then lastly, what I would say to those who are in the lands, you got to come back home. You got to come back home. Because if you don't come back home, you're diluting the political strength. And quite frankly, I don't want to be the last African-American mayor in the city of Houston. Someone said, Mayor, we tried to vote for you, but Mayor, they don't even have your name. They didn't have your name in the ballot. Oh, they were mad, they were upset, they were complaining. We looked for your name, it wasn't there. Mayor, they just dropped you, left your name. I said, well, where were you? Well, tell me where that place was so I can get people out there. They said, when they told me where they were, I said, man, you're not in the city. He said, well, my address says Houston, Texas. I said, your address may say Houston, but you're not in the city. I'm telling you, you're not in the city. So you got to come back home. The Fair Housing Act has meaning when we are there. Okay? When we are there. And we have to be there. We need more home ownership. We need more single-family homes. We need the mixed home products that covers the social economic spectrum. We need the quality grocery stores. We need quality neighborhood schools. And we need financial institutions to treat everyone with decency and respect. And that's why 3 weeks ago, I had a meeting with about 35 bank presidents, CEOs, and high-level executives. And what I said to them is that you all have all this CRA money, but where are you spending it? And where do you exist? And lastly, I put up on the board a map of various neighborhoods, like Acres Home and Fifth Ward and Sunnyside. And I said to them, now tell me where your bank is in these communities. Because most of you are not there. And then I said to them, I want you to think about this. The mayor of the fourth largest city lives in a neighborhood where I have to go outside of my neighborhood to get to my bank. And I'm the mayor of the fourth largest city in the country, soon to be the third. And you all are not in my neighborhood because I still am in the hood. Okay? And so my point to them was, if your bank is not physically present, your money ought to be. Because when you leave and take your money, other institutions will follow as well. So if your bank is not physically located, your CRA dollars need to be there. Okay? But it's going to take all of us working together to make it happen. I want to thank y'all for what y'all are doing. I look forward to partnering with you. We need affordable housing, mixed income housing, and quite frankly, as we utilize the dollars coming in from HUD and others, I look forward to working with you very closely. We need more contractors building more housing in our city. We don't have enough minority contractors. Let me tell you, I'm having to look for minority contractors, people that look like me. Now, you'll find people selling pencils and papers and all of that type of stuff. But I'm talking about contractors who can build. You can't take advantage of the dollars from an economic point of view if you don't have the instrument by which to make it happen. We need more minority contractors. There are billions of dollars that will be spent over the next 3 to 5 years. And we need the businesses. We got to have them. Okay? There are lower lots in this city, all throughout these areas. We want to build housing on these lower lots. And what I'm telling my people at the City Hall, and I want it done yesterday. And the reason why I'm saying that, I'm not going to be there forever. I have to move with the greatest degree of urgency. because the next person may not carry the same vision or priority. So like I tell them, you built it yesterday. And every week you come and give me a number and you let me know what you have done. Okay? So we have to move with a sense of urgency. I want to thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be your mayor. I look forward to working with you, Madam President.